This week, we talk about Sony's big investment in PC gaming, plus there's a new app on iPhone. Kind of. Without further ado, let's go ahead together as a people and check it out! And welcome to another Independence Sunday. I'm Mike, and yes, if you're here in the US, it is Independence Day, a holiday where they shoot fireworks and everybody gets drunk. So happy Independence Day if you're in the US. Aside from it being an Independence Sunday, it's also a sensational Sunday. And yes, I'm here to talk about the tech and gaming news. And what better time than while we're all celebrating on the 4th? Actually, there's probably a better time, but this is just my video drop, okay? So you have to deal with it. Happy 4th. Let's hop into it first with Sony. I want to talk about the PSP because if you remember a while back, way back, Sony was planning on shutting down the PSP, PlayStation Vita, and the PS3 stores. And then I made my whole video speculating that basically because of this, they would end up doing backwards compatibility whether they wanted to or not. This is not related to backwards compatibility. This is kind of in my timeline. I did that video. But then Sony ended up reversing the decision because they're like, oh, the PS3 and Vita were still pretty popular. We didn't realize it. Oops. And that's why I said in my video prior to them doing that they're going to probably do backwards compatibility because this is going to make them realize that there was a stupid decision. Anyway, the PSP store still shut down. So everyone was like, you know, sad because you're not going to be able to buy games for the PSP digitally at least. But there's actually a workaround. So with them reversing the decision to close the PS3 and the Vita store, you can actually still buy games on the PS3 or the Vita, and obviously you can still transfer them over to the PSP. So there is still a way to get PSP games digitally. Now they did say that in-game purchasable content would no longer be available, but at least there's still a way to get a lot of those games digitally. Actually, I got my PSP recently, and I've been playing a little bit of that Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. And yeah, I kind of love the PSP. It was a really good handheld for the time. And then if you look at the graphics now, they kind of still hold up in comparison to like even the 3DS. And this was like competing with the DS. So I think that the PSP was actually a really cool system and a really great part of history. The Vita, it was alright. But don't think I'm done with Sony yet, because we need to have a conversation, a deeper conversation about Sony and what they're doing with this whole PC stuff. Now, Sony last year, or the last couple of years, have started putting out some PC ports. They started with Horizon Zero Dawn, which is surprising because that's a PlayStation exclusive right there. And I was like, Horizon? Oh, on PC? I don't, it's unheard of. For some reason, I just turned into that, whatever that was. I think it might have been a Thundercats, the little cat thing. I don't know. But it made me look at it and I was like, that's really cool. Now, the port had some issues when it came out, but overall, I think it was generally positively received as a really good version of the game. And they also did Days Gone on PC. So now they didn't go on ahead and bought them a whole company to do PC ports. Well, that's what the speculation is. So they bought this company called Nixxes. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But basically they specialize in basically porting games over to PC. So it wouldn't make any sense to buy this company unless they're going to be doing a lot more PC ports very soon. And they need somebody like our company on hand to do that. And I think that when we're talking about console versus PC, there's not a real competition there. Because I think if you want to play games on PC, you just want to play games on PC. It doesn't mean that you necessarily want to play them on console, or that you already don't have a console and play some games on console, and vice versa. It's not as segregated. It's a completely different market. And putting games on PC is not going to really deter people from buying the system, because people buy systems because they want to buy systems. People build PCs because they like building PCs, and they like playing games on their PCs and speccing them out so they can get the exact performance that they want. Really two different markets. So I don't think selling games on PC that you already sold on console exclusively is really going to hurt Sony's market at all. And in fact, it's going to increase revenue for the game, which obviously they probably saw with Horizon and Days Gone. Otherwise, they would be buying this whole company just to do PC ports if they weren't someone invested in it. So I'm glad, because I really want to try some of these exclusives on PC. I'm hoping that God of War comes, because that'd be a great game to play on PC. But also, I'm still really enjoying playing games on PS5 with the controller and the haptic triggers and all that stuff. So there's really an advantage either way, like of having a system or having a powerful PC. The system's a lot cheaper. The graphics are really good. The load times are super fast. It's going to be cheaper than building a PC that's capable of running the games with the same ray tracing effects and the speed, especially the hard drive speed, of something like the PlayStation 5 that's $500. Like for $500, you cannot get a PC that runs games that well. So, like I said, I think Sony now realizes releasing PC games isn't going to hurt their core business, and it's probably not going to be day-and-day releases like Microsoft does, but, you know, they can release a game and like a year later release the PC version of it, and then that'll bring them even more revenue because it's kind of sparking interest back in the game again where people might have kind of forgotten about it. So like I said, this whole thing makes sense now that like consoles and PC aren't really in direct competition anymore. It's two completely different markets. So hopefully we see some classics and maybe some new games from Sony on PC soon. But the last thing I want to talk about, let's transition over to Microsoft for a minute, because aside from me getting the Series X last week, which if you missed that unboxing video, go ahead and watch that. But another thing dropped the same week that I got my Xbox. Finally, xCloud has released on iPhone, in beta at least. So if we go back a little bit further, we go way back to last year. Basically, Apple put these policies in place, or they wouldn't change their policies or update them to allow game streaming apps to operate the way they wanted to on the App Store. They basically wanted them to create a separate listing for each game that was on their streaming platform and have them be individually downloaded, which wouldn't make any sense. You're downloading an individual app to stream games from a collection of games. That doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the way that Apple wanted it, and obviously that wasn't going to work for a lot of streaming services. So first we saw Amazon Luna do it. Basically, Amazon was like, we're not going to worry about it, we're just going to do a web version of the app, and it is what it is. And finally, Microsoft has released their web version of Project xCloud. I played around with it a little bit. I actually went and bought one of those Razer Kishi controllers. I know they're coming out with a new Xbox branded one for iPhone just for the release of this, but I don't really care about having the Xbox branding because I'm probably going to use it for other stuff as well. So I just got a refurbished one from Amazon for $70, which actually sucks because I was considering buying it during Prime Day. It was actually on sale for $66, but I was like, nah. And then literally right after that, that's when the xCloud on iPhone thing happened, and I was like, man, I really regret that decision. So yes, I paid slightly more for a refurbished one, but it works great. And yeah, I've been playing around with it. I'm going to have a video on it, hopefully this week. So I'm going to hold off on my thoughts and impressions, but it's got some issues. But this is, you know, it just came out. So they have time to work it out. Hopefully they get them ironed out soon. But yes, it's super exciting. I'm glad that we're finally seeing these services start to come to iPhone. It sucks that they can't be in the App Store where they have a lot more visibility. And the funny thing is, it's not even because of like the 30% cut that Apple takes. Is literally they won't allow it based on their own policies to be in the App Store. That's what really sucks, and that's so dumb about the situation. But it's great that it's finally available. There's a lot of good games up there. I think xCloud, for the value, is one of the best streaming services, value-wise at least. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. Maybe if these services do become more popular on iPhone, then Apple will finally change the rules and allow them to have a native app in the App Store, or something happens with this Apple versus Epic trial, which is still being decided on. Things could change, but for now, you just got to go to the website. I forgot what the website is. I'll put it on screen. But if you already have Game Pass, you can go and log in, and then it'll prompt you to create like a shortcut, and it just shows up like a regular app on your home screen after that point. But yep, the PSP saved. Sony's about to be dropping them PC games, and the xCloud web app is here. Let me know if you're excited about it. Are you excited to see some more PlayStation games on PC? I certainly am. Like being able to run Horizon and kind of just go crazy with the settings. It's pretty cool. Are you excited to try xCloud on iPhone? Have you tried it yet? Let me know what your impressions are. Let me know if you ran into issues, because I've had a lot of issues and I'm trying to figure out if it's me or not. Anyway, I'll be back on another wonderful Wednesday with hopefully my first impressions of xCloud. We can talk about that further. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and always do at least 2 things at the same time.